I find it quite astounding how many local and smaller businesses are still using quite traditional marketing methods as their primary marketing method in 2025. Now, I understand the reason for it. It's about comfort levels and not feeling that that they have the understanding or the time or maybe the money to invest in the setup for digital marketing. But what I want to cover today is just how beneficial it is to use digital marketing methods, and how actually the cost of doing nothing on this front is going to really significantly affect your business. In fact, what you are losing, well, probably what you are spending on traditional marketing methods. Doesn't even come close to what you're losing, and we'll have a little look at some of those numbers. But I was speaking with a local business owner recently, runs a service from his shop base, and he had a new and exciting pricing model that he felt would bring the horizon, the masses running over the horizon. But he was quite insistent that this needed to be delivered to the public in leaflet drops. Now, there are many ways that you can still use traditional marketing, so let's really identify these. Essentially, it's print media or printed visual assets. So that could be leaflet drops. It could be posters. If you really want to spend out on it, it could be billboards and bus billboards and things like that. This gentleman actually only a few months ago spent quite a lot of money on some very big backlit posters so that nighttime passers would see some of his latest pricing offers. Now, that was something he felt quite confident on being quite important, but of course, it was only three and a half weeks after printing these and putting them up that he wanted to change the offer. And of course, on backlit posters, the cost of that was really quite significant. So regardless, he felt that a leaflet drop for his new pricing model was the best way forward. But I just want to look at that as a bit of a scenario so that we can then compare the idea of digital marketing. So let's take him as an example. He's suddenly created a new pricing model, and he wants to get this out as soon as possible to the people in his local area. This was a pivot in prices due to local competition. And so we've got to look at the design process and the production process and the distribution process, which design process would take roughly about a week, maybe 3 days to a week, to go back and forth with his designer. I don't do print media. That's not something that I was involved in. But he's got a designer that he uses, and to schedule in, get the work done, get it approved and ready to send off. We're talking 3 to 7 days really, or 5 business days perhaps. Then we have 2 to 3 business days for it actually, all of these leaflets to be produced and brought back. And then that has to be given over to somebody such as an agency who might take a team out, or to a local teenager. I saw a dental practice recently using a local teenager to deliver leaflets. Whoever it goes to, that distribution is going to take another 2 to 3 business working days, probably, or working days. So what we're looking at there is, even if the process goes really smoothly, is one, maybe week and a half to 2 week turnaround, just to get these leaflets out there. Once the leaflets are out there, it really is a case of just seeing if anybody comes through the door. There's no knowledge really of where these have gone, apart from to this area and through every door in this or that area. There's no knowledge about the demographics. There's no knowledge about how many people saw them or they went straight in the bin. This is where it all stops. So 1.5 weeks, let's say, turnaround from idea to pushing out the new leaflets and visual assets. And then that's it. We just see if anybody else comes through the door. Now that is going to cost £600 to £800 probably, no less than 500 if everything's brought in on sales and deals and lower prices. Now, if we think of the digital equivalent of that, let's go with time first of all. The great thing about digital marketing, essentially, you're creating a visual asset, and that might be a visual that says, we've got a new pricing model. So, our competition have lowered all of their prices, all of their marketing is out there. And, however much you keep an eye on your competition, you're not going to know what they are about to start promoting until you see it at the same time as consumers. Now, you see your competitors have dropped their prices, and for some reason you think that that's what you need to do as well. That's not always the best way to go in terms of pricing strategy, but you want to chase those prices down, and you are using digital marketing as your primary marketing method. The fact is that if you are the type that is set up to use digital marketing for your visual assets, it means that you've got your socials set up. It means that you have any outlet that you any channel set up and ready to go. You just need to produce that visual asset. Well, one of the best things about digital marketing is that if you are properly set up to do that, you probably have branded templates already ready to go. So that these are templates that you would have on your own devices or in your own accounts, or the main thing is that you don't always have to go to a designer to get a whole new fresh digital or visual asset sorted out. You can probably go into a template that you already have, even that morning, over coffee, and then send it out on your socials. So you're able to keep a better pace with your competition, but also with trending items in the news and things like that. So, for example, let's think a celebrity falls down some stairs and there's a meme going around and it's trending over the next couple of days. So the same picture of the celebrity is falling down the stairs, and people are putting their different quotes on there, and you want to get in on that little trend. Well, that's the great thing with digital marketing. As we've mentioned, there's no drag on the time. Let's take this fella in the shop. He would have a week and a half to 2 weeks to jump on that trend and get little leaflets out there, should he be so inclined to do so. But if you are already set up with your digital marketing, you're going to be able to chuck an image into your template, put the promotion or any text that you want, and then you're going to send it into your channels. Now, anyone that's set you up for digital marketing, if that's something that you're looking to do, like I've said, you will have the templates ready to go. You will be able to change the text and the image, and you will already be signed into your social and channels, assuming you want to have that control, and send that out. It's such a smooth process, and it keeps you absolutely noticed. It keeps you absolutely timely with anyone that's keeping an eye on your business. So time is really, really quite an advantage that you can have with digital marketing that obviously traditional and especially mainly print marketing can't even compete with. The other aspect on that obviously is price. So while you may have an initial setup for, say, your digital visual assets and templates, and maybe even the setup of your socials, if you actually want to have some ownership and you have some staff members in your business who will start putting out the socials and keeping tabs with all of the data that's going in and out of that, once the initial setup is there, the cost really diminishes. So let's compare that to print media campaigns, whether that's sending out into a local newsletter and you occasionally have a half-page spread or advert there. You might know Jerry at the paper and be able to phone him up and say, right, I want another advert. It's going to say this. Please do that. But the cost every time is going to be the same, and it's going to be quite significant. Same with leaflets. Or backlit posters. Every time you want to put up a new promotion, you've got to make the leaflets. That's the cost. Produce them, distribute them. That cost remains the same. The great thing with setting yourself up with digital marketing is it should be part of a wider strategy. And part of that strategy is frequency. In order to achieve the frequency, you need to be able to have a team member, someone on your team who is going to be clued up, trained on how to release these socials when you deem it is good to do so. So the cost really diminishes once you've got that initial setup. So you've got your visual asset templates, you've got your channels, your social channels all set up. After that, it's a case of literally updating a Facebook status and pushing out some posts that way. So again, the cost with digital marketing actually comes in at quite a fraction of the cost when compared to traditional marketing methods. So it's much faster, it's much better with cost. But here's another aspect of the cost, which I really don't think a lot of smaller local business owners really understand the specific power of this, is that when we're putting an advert in a local newsletter, to some degree, we know what sort of demographic, what sort of people are receiving that newsletter or a particular paper, for example. This is more applicable to a paper, I suppose, where people are actually purchasing the publication. But of course, you do get community newsletters which go out to all houses altogether now at the same time. When it's a particular publication, you're able to pinpoint a bit of the demographic or an interest that most of the readers have. And it's obviously wise to invest putting your advert in a magazine or a publication that has interested readers or readers that are interested in your service. A wider community newsletter is a bit like shotgun, you just hope something sticks to the wall. Now, when it comes to digital marketing, the really fantastic aspect of this is that you can literally, in most marketing channels, socials particularly, you can literally pinpoint, sniper rifle, pinpoint who you would like these visual assets to go to, who you would like these posts to reach. Now, it might be on the locality at first. You can then also pinpoint the age range. You can then also pinpoint careers or particular interests. Now, what that does is that, unlike a magazine advert or obviously something like a leaflet drop, where you are just blanketing, you're snowing all over the local neighborhoods, regardless of whether they would have any interest whatsoever. Instead of spending money on doing that, you're spending money on just targeted advertising. Now, if you are somebody that's still using traditional marketing, maybe you are paying for leaflet drops. If the people that you are needing to target need to be between 50 and 60 years old, there's no part of me that thinks that you would want to pay for your leaflets to go through households, that are not suited to that demographic. If you can choose which doors it goes through, you would most definitely want to target that. There's no real way to do that with leaflet drops or other print media. Whereas one of the advantages with digital marketing is that not only is it targeted to the correct people in the first place, you usually would only pay per click. What that means is that it's not about how many people see it, it's about how many people take an action and respond to it. Now, that's really significant because nobody's going to click on it if they don't have a serious interest in your product or your service. And those are the people that you are actually paying to market to. So not only is it a cheaper upfront cost and a diminishing cost with how often, once you've got everything prepared, you've got your visual assets and your templates, you've got your channels all set up, you've got a team member trained up, ready to use the socials for whatever you want to put out there. There's no real further cost there apart from any maintenance that has to be in place. But then every subsequent cost, the investment that you're putting into that is going to be targeted. And also, you're only really paying for the result. So again, huge advantage to digital marketing. So really, essentially, in summary, you're paying more for marketing that works less. If you're sticking with traditional marketing methods, you're paying more for marketing that is less effective every year and more expensive every year. So if we take, say, £400 on local ads, if we take £400 on a leaflet drop, or say £600 on a whole leaflet drop across a neighbourhood, that's £1,000. Okay, so that's £1,000 that you've put on a one-hit blast that will last. It's a leaflet through a door. It's forgotten, it's thrown away, or it's not even looked at in a local paper. So you could spend £1,000 on one traditional marketing campaign and have no analytics back on that. So you won't even know how many people have looked at it. You certainly won't know how many people have actually read your leaflet or your advert. There's nothing coming back there in terms of feedback and how effective it is, other than whether people walk through your door. If you take that same £1,000 with digital marketing, you could run a Facebook or email marketing campaign for a good couple of months. And not only would you be targeting that towards people that have a likely interest in your product or service, but you're also paying only for the interaction or the reaction to your marketing. And even added it more to that, they come back with recorded statistics, meaning that you understand where somebody has come from. Did they come from Facebook? Did they come from Google? Did they come from your marketing, your email marketing campaign? From that, you're able to further refine your marketing efforts in the next campaign, in the next couple of months, because it's like, okay, I thought our audience was going to be on Facebook, but nobody was really responding there. What really worked for us was sending out some free asset on Instagram that put them onto our mailing list, and then they came to our site and they bought something. You're able to trace that entire journey and know how effective your marketing was. Now, obviously, the idea is that if you spend £600 on one campaign, and £400 on, say, Facebook, and £600 on something more Instagrammy, and email marketing, and the £600 method is more effective, the analytics are in, well, you're going to obviously put more money into that in your next round, aren't you? So you're going to maybe minimize the Facebook, maybe keep it a bit present for an awareness campaign, but you're going to want to put a bit more money into the method that worked. Again, the recording aspect of digital marketing is extremely advantageous. Now, of course, again, this is more important for small and local business, where every penny counts, every pound has to matter. And so, again, that's why I feel so surprised when local small business who really need their marketing budget to be effective will keep throwing money into local ads, local leaflets, maybe local posters, and it's an expense that's never going to diminish, and it's not going to bring in anything comparable to a digital marketing campaign. Now, I do understand that it's scary. It's scary to step into a new process. It's scary to take a budget that you feel should be there, where you think it might bring in one or two a month, and that's helpful. And it's scary to put all of your eggs in one basket, but the statistics are in. It's cheaper, faster, it's more timely, it's more effective, it's more measurable, and it's something that you can more easily refine as a result of all of those. So I suppose the key point here is that it's not about spending more on marketing. It's about spending it in a smarter way. It's about investing into a new process that will actually work for you on many other fronts. So if we've decided to spend smarter and actually publicize our business or market our business in more of a digital way, that does actually change another aspect of our business, and that is how the customer is probably going to get in touch with us first time. So let's think about print ads or a leaflet. What that's doing often is requiring somebody to perform a manual action. So that might be copying the phone number into their phone and then pressing call. Now, there are two things there. One is that the way to really increase your sales is to reduce friction in terms of call to action. So you really want somebody to have the least amount of friction in order to just go, oh, that sounds like a good idea, and hit call. And you can't do that on an advert or on a leaflet. The best you could do maybe is a QR code, but a lot of people that are doing leaflets without a digital marketing campaign aren't really set up that way anyway. But it's requiring a manual action. Now, there's another knock-on effect there, which is that you have to be manning the phones, because the phone is going to be the primary call to action for any traditional marketing methods, generally speaking. And that means that if you can't answer that call, then you've lost that potential customer. Once you've got digital marketing in place, that's also going to change how your customers are first interacting with your business. There are two things that would likely happen. They're going to click a link that's from a Facebook social or even Instagram or something along those lines, and they might go straight to your website. Now, this is where the importance of a good website comes into play. It's a place where you need to cultivate like, know, and trust. You need people to start seeing that you are a credible provider of your service or your product. And then your website has to work in such a way that people feel reassured that you're there and start to like you and your attitude. They might look at your about page and realize that you're a local family run business, lots of trusted reviewers in the area, and this really helps sell your brand and your business to potential new customers, much more than if they just have to type in a number and call and take a chance on somebody. People don't like to take chances. The other thing is that on something like a website or a digital marketing response, there's usually going to be something more like a form. And this actually has some real advantages to you and your business, because for one thing, when somebody fills in the form, there's zero friction there. They have to put in their name and their number, maybe, and their email. And that's going to be sent away. They've made contact. They've let you know that they are interested in your product or service. That's wonderful. But the great thing is that you didn't have to be available to get that call to action. So if they happen to be sitting on the loo at 3 a.m. and they Googled plumber near me, and which happens a lot actually, and they've been completely impulsive and they sent off that form, you wake up to a new lead, and you're able to, when it's convenient for you in your schedule, call them back and get in touch with them and arrange what you need to arrange. There's also, and I'll just go into this very quickly, another advantage to using forms, which is that it qualifies your customer. You only need one question on your form that will qualify or disqualify a customer, so that you know how much time to spend on them. For example, if you do not want to have any jobs come in that are below 10 grand, maybe you're fitting kitchens, there could be what is your budget question on your form, and they might say 5 to 10 grand, they might say 20 to 30. Now, the 20 to 30, you want to call back, and you want to, ensure that you say, hi, glad you're interested. Let's get a quote together for you, blah, blah, blah. The other one where they said, my limit is 5 to 10 grand, but can you do anything for me? You can maybe decide to just send them a message back or give them some hints and tips, speak to them about some other services. You don't need to prioritize that non-customer with in your busy day. So again, there are some huge advantages to the actual onboarding process of a customer, or the qualifying process of a customer, as a result of digital marketing. But that is just me digressing, because I didn't have that at all on my notes. But But yeah, digital marketing, it has a real advantage to the process that you can use in your business. Now, what we were talking about there really was a little bit of automation. So it means that a lot of the customer process is is more automated. Obviously, that saves on staff time. It reduces workload, and this is why I say that a good digital strategy, and digital marketing is a part of the digital strategy, only a part. Digital strategy earns you more, but it reduces your workload. And that's because a lot of the processes can actually be automated. One example of this is that you can automate your appointment system or booking system to send a reminder to clients or customers maybe the day before their appointment. Now, dental practices benefit from this a lot because that can it can decrease the no-shows by about 40%. And of course, that increases revenue and what you've actually taken in. When somebody doesn't show up to an appointment, you might be able to take a cancellation fee, but that's a fraction of the revenue that the business would have brought in. If you can reduce that by having a staff member phone all of the next day's appointments to give a reminder, which is the old school way of doing it, then you're going to increase the revenue compared to if you did nothing on that front. If, however, your booking system independently and without a staff member even sitting down with a cuppa and picking up the phone, if your booking system does that automatically the day before every appointment, you've just reduced your no-shows by 40% and increased your revenue, your realistic revenue, by that amount. So that's a complete automated advantage to a digital strategy, a digital system. And again, that really does that is a knock-on effect from the digital marketing methods that you would have. Let's look at automation in another sense as well. So hair salon, online booking system. If you think of how often it takes to actually pick up the phone, let's say you are not at all missing any calls, you have someone on the desk constantly, and they pick up every phone call. That staff member is spending an hour or two on the phone every day. Now, a lot of people don't actually want to pick up the phone. Customers don't really like to do that these days, and that's something else to consider. Customers don't want to phone up, and they often don't want face-to-face. If they can use a form and feel sure that it got there and they can make a booking, they prefer it. But to speak of your staff time and therefore the cost of what you're putting into that, if you have an online booking system on your website that most customers are using, you can reduce that staff member's time spent on the phone by 2 hours, which means that they can make everybody more coffee and fetch the biscuits, which makes a workplace happier, which makes it a better workplace. Along those lines. Now, obviously, I've spoken about digital marketing in the context of a wider digital strategy. Now, that's actually intentional, but it's also something you can't really help. Once you digitize one part of your business, it is going to have a knock-on effect through the rest of your business, because the processes are digital and you kind of need the other areas to catch up on that in order to optimize with them. Now, it's fair to say that in some ways this does change the culture of your workplace, and it's something to actually acknowledge. But if your marketing is digital, and then instead of Debbie on the desk having phone calls or people walking in to ask some questions, instead Debbie has got some contact form submissions or some leads coming into a funnel. And she sees that they are due a sales call. Now that can feel like a huge difference. It's an optimization for your business. It's a better investment for your money. It reduces the workload, and it targets towards people that, it targets your money and your time and your investment towards people that have a real interest in your service or product. But it's a big shift in how your workplace runs and how it feels for other people. There is training that's necessary so that you don't have someone feeling a bit uncared for in their new role, or what seems like a new role. Now, I bring that up just because it's something for you to consider. This entire talk has been focused on having you consider moving your business from a traditional marketing method to a digital marketing method, but it's fair to understand how that affects the rest of your business. Like I've said, automates a lot of processes, it reduces your workload, it will increase your revenue as a direct result of that, but it is going to change your culture a little bit. It's going to change your processes, and it's important to prepare the staff and your team with how that will feel. So that's just something else to really consider there. Now, talking about digital strategy, my real goal for helping local businesses is to help them with a digital strategy. I used to create websites. I used to help people more specifically with content marketing, but actually it's about the wider digital strategy and how all of that has to work together. So what I've got is a 5-stage framework. And instead of being a sales funnel that takes somebody from somebody contacting your business to a closing sale, I don't think that's inclusive enough and empowering enough for local business. So I've created a 5-stage framework called the Valor Framework. And this essentially optimizes your entire customer journey from visibility, authority, likability, offer, to retention. So it's the entire customer journey from somebody becoming aware of your business to being a loyal follower of your business. And once you understand the Valor Framework and the touch points for every customer through that sequence and how to implement that, you will see your business in a different way. You will be excited about the possibilities that are there. And more than anything, because you're guiding a customer and giving your customer everything that they need to, well, become a customer instead of a lead, you will see a real increase in how well your business is working with leads and retaining customers. So if that sounds interesting to you, then click the link around this audio or video. You'll get a free video that explains the Valor Framework and how that can work for your business. And of course, if you'd like a phone call, I do offer coaching on the Valor Framework, but I would recommend you check out that video first of all, so that you can understand it more fully. Okay, cool. So I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have any questions about digital marketing, how that can be implemented in your business, do get in touch. I'd be interested to know your thoughts. Have you just started getting into digital marketing? How have you found it's been working with or for your business? Or do you feel a bit stuck with traditional marketing methods, but a bit afraid to step out of that? What are your reservations? Chuck it all in the comments. I'd love to understand a bit more about that. And of course, feel free to message me directly. I'm Chris. I often speak very quickly, and I hope you have a good day.